Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. This week's Torah reading, Parsha Tovoh, has a very important message for us. The first part of the Torah reading talks about when we enter into the land of Israel, the first thing we have to do is to bring Bikkurim, the first fruits. What are Bikkurim? Bikkurim is when your crop grows. The first thing that happens when the farmer goes out and sees that the crop is blossoming, first thing he does is tie a little red thing or something to identify which is the very first fruit. You can imagine the farmer works all year long to get his fields ready for harvest. And he's so excited. And he comes down, he sees finally his work is coming to fruition. And he's so grateful that he ties this first fruit. Then the Torah commands us that we have to take that first fruit, the first fruit of every tree, of any tree that we have, only one of a kind, and bring it to Jerusalem, to the Holy Temple. And the procedure was amazing. First of all, everybody would gather together and come into Jerusalem at the same time with their first fruits. And this farmer might just have one little fig in his basket because he only had one tree that bloomed. Yet he's going there, and what would happen? All of the people of Jerusalem, all of the storekeepers would close their stores. Everybody would come out to greet the people bringing in their first fruits, their Bikkurim, to the temple. And it was great singing and dancing, and everyone was very excited about it. And the Torah, after describing how you bring the first fruit and how you have to look for the first fruit to market, after it does that, then it says, "V'samachta b'chol hatov," you shall be happy with all that is good. And there are two very important lessons that we learn from this that are important for us in our lives. The first is the lesson of gratitude. God is constantly performing miracles for us. The very fact that we can get up in the morning is a great miracle. Things happen to us during the day we take for granted. The fact that we are able to drive to work and come back healthy, we take that for granted. And unfortunately, there are some people who don't make it. And many other aspects of life, many difficult things happen, but we have to thank God for the good that happens. We have to open up our eyes to see the good, to see what God is really doing to us and be grateful for it. And the second thing we have to learn from this mitzvah is you have to be joyous. You have to be happy when you're doing the mitzvah. And I'm going to just talk about two different aspects of Bikkurim, of the first fruits. First of all, I'm going to tell you a story that Rabbi Twersky, Rabbi Twersky, Alav Shalom, brings down. He brings the story of Rabbi David of Tolna. And he tells that he was going to a certain town to visit, and he sent a message ahead to the town, and the people of the town heard that this great rabbi is coming. So there were two different reactions. One poor man came home from shul that morning, and his wife saw that he was unhappy, he was down. She says, "What's the matter?" He said, "The great rabbi is coming to town, and I know that it's customary to give tzedakah, to give charity to this rabbi. I don't have any money to give." And the wife says, "Don't worry. don't worry, I will go out and sow some things and bake cookies and bake pastries to raise enough money so you can give him a ruble, the smallest amount of money, so you can at least give him something, so you don't have to be unhappy. Hearing that, he was very cheerful. He was so happy he would have something to give the rabbi, to give tzedakah. Another person hearing the same news was a very wealthy person who had many orchards. He comes home and he's very down in the dumps. And his wife asks him, "What's the matter?" He said, "Oh, this great rabbi is coming to town." "So why does that bother you?" "Because every time he comes, I've got to give him money. I've got to, it's going to cost me 50 rubles. Just money down the drain I have to give for charity. And it really bums me out." So this is the two types of people. How is this related to Bikkurim? The first fruits were brought in baskets. The wealthy persons would bring them in silver or gold baskets. The poor person would bring it in a little wicker basket. When the Bikkurim were given, the Kohen would return the silver and gold baskets to the wealthy people, but would keep the wicker baskets. So this same situation I just described with Rav Tolna coming to visit a town happens with Bikkurim. The poor man comes home, says it's time to do Bikkurim, and I really have nothing to carry my Bikkurim. How can I bring this to the temple? I have only one little fig. What am I going to carry it in? Wife says, "Don't worry. I'll make you a straw basket." She weaves a basket and gives it to me, so happy. And the poor man, the wealthy man rather, is grumbling about he's grousing about having to take from his fruit, take the long trip to Jerusalem. "I don't have time to keep doing that." "Okay, but I've got to do it, so I'll do it. So let's get something." And I see my neighbors last year gave their Bikkurim in silver bowls. Well, I'm going to be better than them. I'm going to do it in a gold bowl. So when the Bikkurim came, so the gold bowls, the silver bowls were given back, and the straw bowl was kept. And Rav Tolna explains that the charity that is given, the thanks that is given with a full heart, is the thanks that God wants. And therefore, these baskets were made with a full heart, they were kept. The golden ones, God doesn't want charity that's based on envy and based on bad feelings. So that's one story. Then it says, "V'samachta b'chol hatov." You should rejoice in all the good. And that is part of the same thing. You have to be happy when you're giving tzedakah. When you're doing a good deed for somebody, you should be happy. And the Talmud in the Gemara Tanis brings a story of Rav Broka. Rav Broka, who was in the marketplace, and he had occasion to see Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet. And he said, "I want you to show me somebody in this marketplace. Is there anybody here who was worthy of the world to come? Ben Olam Haba." And he sees two people. And they're kind of dressed kind of funny. And he asks Eliyahu Navi, "Can you tell me about those two people?" He says, "Yes, those two people are worthy of the world to come." So he says, "I got to find out why." He goes over to them and he asks them, he says, "What do you do? What's your business in this world?" "Our business is we are jesters. We're comedians. Our job is to cheer people up. When we see two people fighting with one another, we go and we try to break it up and we try to bring smiles to their faces. And by that we prevent the machlokas, the fighting, and we make people happy." And the question then is, how can Rav Broka ask for somebody who's worthy of the world to come? Because nobody knows who's worthy of the world to come until the day after they die, till the day they die, because who knows what can happen. He says, "No, worthy of receiving, of seeing the beauty of Olam Haba, of the world to come, in this world. Those people who do kindness, who bring happiness to others, they see the benefits of Gan Eden, of the world to come, in this world. Let us all learn from this mitzvah Bikurim to always say thankful, to always be thankful for God for everything, even those things that seem that they're really difficult. Because we know that the Gemara tells us that everything that happens in this world is for our good, even though if we don't see it. Let's always remember that, and let's give thanks, not just by rote, like the little kid who's told by his mother, say thank you to the nice man, thank you. No. Say thank you, be grateful to God for everything that happens, and do it with a full heart. Thank you for listening to the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.